তরুণ চলচ্চিত্র পরিচালক ঋক ঘোষ স্বনামধন্য নাট্য ব্যক্তিত্ব জনার্দন ঘোষের পুত্র তিনি। ইতিমধ্যেই ঋকের কাজ পুরস্কৃত হয়েছে জাতীয় ও আন্তর্জাতিক স্তরে। তার চলচ্চিত্র ভাবনা পরিচালক হয়ে ওঠার সব কথাই আমাদের জানালেন ঋক তার সঙ্গে একান্ত সাক্ষাৎকারে।
Hello, I'm Wrik Ghosh and I'm a film director. I do not know that if I can call myself a film director yet because I'm still learning and there's always a lot to learn. So I believe there is time to call myself a film director. I started this thing in around 2015. I always had a knack and interest for this craft from the very beginning, and from childhood it was my passion to be a filmmaker, and right now it is a passion, but I hope to turn it into a profession very soon, but there is time to it. Filmmaking, I think I started around the year 2015 when I shot when I tried, I didn't say I completed it, but when I tried shooting a horror film with a Sony Coolpix, those small cybershot cameras, I used that and I had no lights and all I was using was torchlight, and the film was a horror film, so it was a mess, and at that time I had no idea how to edit, and at that time phone editing softwares were also not available because phones were not that smart at that time. Then I started to learn how to edit, and I introduced myself to editing softwares and I learned them from the internet, and that's how slowly I started filmmaking. And obviously there was a lot of filmmaking to understand for me at that time. So I started watching a lot of film, international, national, art films, commercial films, mainstream films, all types of films. I started at that time. I hadn't watched much at that time, but right now I can say I've seen a lot in this time, and also a lot of I see a lot of criticism video why and how this shot was important on, or how the director planned this shot, and I used to see a lot of interviews of a lot of director. It is very hard to say any particular director who has inspired me, because there is always something to learn from every director, because every director has its unique style, and while making our new and unique style we need to understand their style first before we can find our own style. So it is important to watch every filmmaker, and usually a lot of young filmmakers are heavily inspired by a lot of directors and not one in any particular. I would like to name 5 directors who have inspired me: Martin Scorsese, Christopher Nolan, Wes Anderson, Satyajit Ray, and Na Hong Jin. So these are my 5 directors who have inspired me a lot, and there are other directors too, but these are my top 5 because they have inspired me because of their uniqueness in their style and the way they tell their story, and their way of technicalities, how they deal with their choice of shots, their choice of color scheme, their choice of casting, the type of acting they want there in their film has been a huge inspiration, and I tried to implement some of that into my films, but I don't know how much I'm able to do it, but I'm trying. The beginning was also interesting. How I started making film is very interesting. In 2015, I believe, like I said, that I started shooting a horror film and all, and I did not know anything about editing, so I was heavily relying on PowerPoint to edit the film, which was something very stupid. I was planning that I'll place one clip and then the second clip in another slide, and as the slide progresses the clips will change, and that's how I'll edit my film, because I had no idea how to use any of those editing softwares. And to be honest, at that time I had no idea which editing software existed. Then later on, some mobile applications, mobile started having editing software in them, so I started using them. There was quite a number of few, but those weren't that good, and it was difficult to edit in them because the type of editing that you would get in computer is very different from the type you will get in your phone. Then slowly I introduced myself into computer editing, and it was very basic softwares in the beginning, and I taught myself them from the internet, and I started shooting montages and videos, random shots, and started creating montages with them in the computer, and that's how I improved my editing skills in the beginning. Then I got my first DSLR, and I made a documentary on the river Ganga, and it is there in the YouTube. If you want, you can see it. Basically, you can see all my films in my YouTube channel. It's Peanuts Production, Peenuts Peanuts Production. I hope you enjoy those films, and you can see how with each film I have developed. I believe and I think I have improved with each film. And when I was first making the film, there's a lot of mistakes, lots and lots of mistakes which I realize now, but I believe making those mistakes have improved me as a filmmaker, and it has developed my sense in this craft. The most recent film, I think that is my Oromo, that is my most technically sound film, and this time I had a proper team. Well, a team that consisted mostly of my friends, but this time it was better than the first few films that I have made. And those previous mistakes were very essential, and those things that I learned while making those previous films were very important. And I made around 4 to 5 films in the lockdown in my house only, and I did not go out for shooting any of them. And I believe that this lockdown, I have learned a lot about editing softwares and about my craft. Film language, I believe film language is very important, and without film language, or without the basic 5 principle film language, it is impossible to make any films. And I think it is very essential and important for every filmmaker to follow these language. And there are a lot of times a lot of directors, senior directors and young directors tend to break the film language, but it is all about whoever feels what is right for his project. So it is not a hard and fast rule that everybody must follow them, but then again a lot of people do follow it and some of them don't. So it's always a personal opinion about who wants to do it and who doesn't want to do it. But I personally feel that that I should follow the film language, because they tend to give your film a bit more basic and a solid structure, and it is essential, and they make your film look more professional. So I tend to follow the film language, but then again it is always an opinion of the director. What he feels right for his project is very much important. Moreover, this medium is a visual medium, and what is visually more striking and pleasing for the director, and what the director thinks that the audience will like, is more important than following the grammars and the rules of the. I personally tend to concentrate a lot on film language and the technicalities of it. Because it is said that pre-production is more important than the production, because pre-production consists, or I would say pre-production decides how good your film is going to be. Because if you do not, because a lot of people these days avoid making storyboards and directly go into the field and say decide to take which shot, and it's very much impulsive, I feel, and I feel that could ruin the film. But then again, it is always the opinion of the one who is making the project, and whatever he feels right, so, and whatever he is more comfortable with. But I personally feel that a huge amount of work is must be put into the pre-production. So I usually get done with my storyboard, my color scheme is decided, and what type of angles to be used, and which type of shot, and how would be the camera move, or how will the camera movement will be, is always pre-decided for me. And I tend to do that all that in my pre-production work, and it is very important. And I personally follow the technicalities of filmmaking very much, and I do not usually break my path from the laid down norms and grammars of filmmaking. Vabna is creating a global platform for creative, and I think it is very impressive, because at this time of crisis we are all confined into our houses, and they are trying to make a global platform where different creatives can reach out to others, and they are learning about how other people make their craft, and how they do their craft, and whatever steps they follow. And this is because this is a very helpful and a learning process, and I think what they are doing is very essential and needed, not only for creative people but for other people who are interested in the following crafts they share about. Suppose I'm highly interested into filmmaking, and I have seen a lot of interviews of other directors and other filmmakers, and it has been helpful, and it has enlightened me a lot. And I think they really the work they are doing is highly commendable and important. Thank you.